Hello, everybody. This is John Meadows. I'm your co-host this evening. I'm very excited to introduce our program for this evening. It's the last of our series of 7 programs. We started on Monday, and every night at this time, we've had a different topic, different presenters, all experts in their subject, and love to, like they say, you save the best to last. And this one's going to be a really good program as far as the advantages of community college. So just wanted to give you a little bit of background information on virtual scholarship fairs. We're a new organizations that just started in partnership with Infant Scholars and More College Offers, and it's hosted on visit days. So the threesome and virtual scholarship fairs was created, and it's really designed to help juniors specifically prepare for a scholarship. Okay, how to pay for college. That's really the bottom line. There's a lot of ways other than merit-based scholarships. There's all types of grants and various other things that will help you defer some of the cost of attending college. And the content that we developed over this week really helps explain a lot of the options you have as far as how to pay for college. And it's really a great series. That's why we call it Scholarship Prep Week. It's really how to prepare yourself so as you begin the journey. Some of you.
Yeah, John, you want to start the webinar for our guests?
Oh, sorry. Let's do that. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us this evening. My name is John Meadows. I'm the co-host for tonight, and my role is to kind of work you through the initial phases of the program as far as what you're about to see. We've had a great week. We've had this is the 7th program. We started on Monday with different topics, and every night at the same time we had a different topic, different presenter, all experts. And like I said, we're saving the best to last. This one's on community college and the advantages of community college. I went to community college, so I can certainly attest to the value of community college. And it's really a program that we're all excited to finish out the week on. That's why we call it Scholarship Prep Week. There's 7 videos, and we'll be posting those on different channels, not only on Infinite Scholars website, but also on virtual scholarship fairs, as well as all of our social media channels. Virtual Scholarship Fairs is a organization that started just this past winter. We developed it in coordination with Infinite Scholars and More College Offers, and it's hosted on Visit Days, which is a platform that you registered on. A great partner of ours. So we're really excited. We're going to be providing programming year-round, actually, different topics throughout the year, particularly in the fall. We plan on having some programming that's specifically relevant to certain decisions that you need to be making as incoming seniors. So it's really focused to help juniors, and underclassmen can learn a lot by watching our programs, but also it's really targeted juniors because there's a lot of really important information that you need to know about as you're trying to figure out how to pay for college, either through scholarship or grants or various other means that we cover in our series of programming. So without any further ado, I want to go through the agenda for this evening. And first off, I will be introducing Dr. Laura Dorsey. She's our co-host. She's an amazing moderator, and she's going to be helping us through the program. Most of the program will be covered either with the presenter or with Dr. Dorsey. But Dr. Dorsey is Vice President, Mission and Engagement at Infinite Scholars. And today's presentation will be by Julie Sheets. She's Dean of Students at Mineral Area College. And we will be answering as many chat messages as possible. So make sure you chime in any questions you have. There's no bad question. It might not even be relevant to the topic we're talking about tonight, because we have a panelist of experts that can answer virtually any question that you might have. So feel free to chime in at any time through the chat. and additional resources will be covered after the presentation by Julie Sheets. Dr. Dorsey will be coming back with additional resources that are available for you through Infinite Scholars and Moore College offers. And we plan to have it within, finished within an hour. We've been over a little bit every program because it's been such great conversation. So no problem if it goes a little bit over, but we will try to keep it within an hour. A few technology reminders. Please locate the chat icon on the bottom of your ribbon. So hopefully you see that. And again, feel free to chat about anything, any questions you have. Feel free to give us a question. And when you chat, only the panelists will see your chat. So we will direct those questions to the appropriate panelists that can answer your specific question, and it won't go out to the overall attendance. Please close all browsers and tabs for best viewing. There's no video tonight, but it still will help for viewing if you close your browsers and tabs. Okay, without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Dr. Laura Dorsey. She's Vice President, Missions and Engagement at Infinite Scholars, and really is an amazing moderator. And she'll, she will have questions that you probably haven't even thought about yourself. So, so she's a great resource. So I want to turn it over to Dr. Dorsey.
John, thank you so much for having me, and good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here, spending your Sunday evening with us. I know that taking time out of your Sunday is probably not everything you wanted to do, but I promise you that the wealth of information that you're going to receive tonight is going to make it well worth your while. As John said, I'm the Vice President of Mission and Engagement for Infinite Scholars. Infinite Scholars is a nonprofit organization, and we do one thing only. We help provide students, first generation and financially challenged students with the resources that they need to be able to continue their post-secondary education. And we do that at 33 fairs across the country. We travel across the country doing it. My responsibility is to make sure that whether you see a fair in St. Louis or Detroit or Washington, D.C. or Tampa, Florida, that they're all the same, everything is the same, that the mission and engagement is the same throughout there. So having said that, I'm taking this presentation that we got coming up a little bit personal, okay? The presentation that we're going to have today is by Julie Sheets. Now, Julie, okay, is the Dean of Students for Mineral Area College in Park Hills, Missouri. Now, that's saying that Dean of Students means that she's got a really good handle on what's going on with students at the universities. And one of the things that I've heard always is that if a student is going to be successful, they need to have three things. They need to have an administration, someone that they can talk to. They need to have a good friend at the university. Okay, they need to be good friends with their finance person. So those are the things that make students successful. Julie is going to tell you how to save thousands of dollars by starting at or even taking some of your classes through a community college. She's got a wealth of information on this particular subject. I've got my pen here to be able to take notes. And dear listener, I'm going to be asking questions for you if you don't have any questions for yourself. So rather than beleaguer what it is that I'm doing, and I'll be able to come back to you later and explain that a little bit, Julie, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, thank you so much for having us. Community college is very near and dear to my heart as well. So glad to be here. I've been in the community college system for 22 years. I worked 19 of those years in admissions and working directly with students and also advising. At the community college, we get to wear many, many hats. We don't just have one little job. We get to do a lot of things as our day unfolds. So I will share my screen right now, and let's get this slideshow going and get started with all the excitement. So community college, I could talk for hours about community college. So many benefits to it. And I think more and more, our success is the student's success, of course, and that's with any educator. And I think that's really, really important for students to know that we are here to support them. And a community college, we'll go through that a little bit and talk about that as the slideshow goes, but just to know that there is such a wonderful support group to help at the community college.
Julie, I can't see your slideshow yet.
Oh, I did. Okay. Um,
Did you hit share slide?
I did. Let's see. I'll go back, share screen. Here we go. I'll try again.
Now we go.
Are you on?
Yes, we see it now.
Okay. Now, just one moment. Let's try that. See if that works. So sorry about that. Is that okay? Are you able to see it?
Yes, Julie, actually, I just see the whole one where we see like the next slide too. So can we make it full screen?
Well, we certainly can. Well, I'm so sorry.
No, no problem. Okay, I think that's gonna be good now.
You can see it because I can't see it.
1 second. Okay, hit from the beginning.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm still seeing the display set. Okay, this is perfect right there.
Okay. All right, great. All right. So sorry about that. We've got it now, and I just moved that over. So we'll go from there. But just our success at the community college is, as a dean of students, that's what I want to see. The best thing of all is at the end of the day is we want students to have achieved what they set their goals on. We want them to have achieved, if it's a degree and it's 2 years, we want to see that happen within the 2-year time frame. So as an advisor, many years, that's what we wanted to talk about. We wanted to lay out the road plan for students, the roadmap, and say, here's your goal, here's what we're looking forward to, and then how can we break that down for you semester by semester so that you're reaching and achieving your goals at the community college. So I think community college is a wonderfully untapped resource for students, and I think it's one of those things that it's very, very cost effective, and we'll talk about the cost of education soon, because we do know that education can be very, very expensive. We can spend lots and lots of money, and there are lots and lots of choices. And so that's why I am very grateful that Infinite Scholars has invited me here today. We've had a wonderful partnership for some time now with Infinite Scholars, and we have had a lot of students be successful by attending the community college. But what it is, community college, it does combine affordability. We have excellent instruction from professors and increased acceptance rate to 4-year schools, and it's extremely less risky. Some students don't really know what they want to do in college, but they absolutely have an idea and they know they want to go to college, but maybe just not sure exactly what that is. And so they have a little bit of time to figure that out at the community college and not pay a really high price for that. So the community college, whenever we talk about that, there are different degrees that we offer, and there are professional certificates. And also, it's kind of, I think of it as like a 3-pronged stool. So what does the community college do? We help students at the 2-year to get a 2-year degree for that associate's degree. We have different kinds of associate's degrees, and just like 4-year institutions, they have different programs at each and every college and each and every university. So I always tell students, do your homework, make sure that the degree that you are seeking, that you are after, and that you're pursuing, that the college that you're looking at has that and offers that degree. Because sometimes a student may say, I want to do this particular degree, and then they want to go to this particular college, and then come to find out they've spent a lot of money and maybe that college doesn't have the degree that they want. So it's the same thing that we have to do as we're looking for college. We want to make sure that we have you on the right path for what you're looking for. But there are many different academic fields and occupations that you're looking for, and we want to make sure that we help you get there, because sometimes you don't need a 4-year degree. Sometimes you don't need a 2-year degree. It totally depends upon what you want to see and your goals in life. So community colleges also offer professional certificates. As I was saying, it's not always that degree. Sometimes it may be a 1-year certificate. Sometimes it might be a short-term training. At a community college, we have the flexibility to do a lot of that. And so some of our programs are as short as 16 weeks, 20 weeks. We may have some that are just 1 semester. And so we'll talk through that as we move forward here. But enrolling in a community college doesn't have to be the final destination. It can be a springboard. It can send students on to the four-year university. And we have many agreements with four-year colleges. We know where our students want to go at Mineral Area College. So we work very tirelessly with those universities to make sure that when our students want to leave Mineral Area College and go to another university, that they have a smooth transition. Because again, it's all about your success. So many different degrees. And as I said, each college is different. Mineral Area College and most all community colleges do offer an Associate of Arts degree. And this usually focuses on general education that you are going to have to take at any other, if you're going for your 4-year degree, it might be the first 2 years of that 4-year degree. So it's normally liberal arts. You're taking the English comp, you're taking public speaking and history and sciences, and you're taking kind of a mirage of all those different classes. And then you're putting that together to create the degree. And many times you have options for electives in that Associate of Arts degree. And those electives usually are the classes that you are interested in. For instance, if you're interested in a business degree, you can definitely go to the community college. You can work on your Associate of Arts degree. And then those elective classes are within the business field, accounting, economics, those types of courses. Then community colleges also offer the Associate of Applied Arts. Mineral Area College does not offer that particular degree, but there are community colleges that do. So we definitely want to talk through all of those. And again, making sure that you have the right fit for yourself. Associate of Science degrees, those degrees are considered transfer degrees, and they prepare you for specific fields. At Mineral Area College, medicine is one of those. We have a wonderful nursing program. We have students that are receiving a 2-year degree and become an RN within 2 years and are ready to either A, go out into the workforce, or B, some of those people will work and also continue their education on for the BSN in nursing. So Associate of Science degrees, there's many areas there that you can also look into: engineering, computer science, business, but you're still going to have those general education courses, but you're really going to focus on what it is that you're studying so that you can go out and do that specific job. Associate of Applied Science degrees are more career focused, and most of the times these are not prepared to transfer. Most of the time these are going to be gaining a skill that you want to do and immediately go out into the workforce. Wonderful way for you to get specific skills to go directly out into the workforce, and you are a step ahead of someone who has just completed high school and that's all the education that they have. Every time that you pursue something more, majority of the time, and not always, we know this, but majority of the time, the more education that you receive, the higher up your benefits may become. Benefits as in what benefits to you. So whether it's financial, everybody thrives on something different. So it's not always financial, but maybe it's your career and the time off that you receive, or the benefits in different ways. So think about that. What is your goal? What is your goal in life? How do you want to do to get there? And just making sure that you're deciding, I only want 1 year of college, and I think that will help me get to where I'm going. Or no, I want to be prepared and have all the doors open. I want the Associate of Arts degree so that I can get all general education classes out of the way and be prepared for that 4-year transfer. Some students do the Associate of Arts degree and take time off and go out into the workforce. And then 10 years from now, they're prepared to go on to the university as well. So it just prepares them. And as an advisor at each institution, which I will tell you is an extremely important person that you need to be in touch with, as soon as you get assigned an advisor, I highly recommend talking through goals. What are those goals that you have for yourself? Because we know, as an advisor on my side of the desk, is saying, hey, I want what's best for you, but you have to talk to me. You got to tell me, what is that you're thinking about? And then we put that plan together, give you a roadmap, and make sure that we're checking in each and every semester to make sure that you are right there on track. And sometimes students change their mind, and we'll talk about that in a minute as well. But here are some of those professional certificates that you are looking at on the screen. And there are many, many, many of them. So it just depends. Mineral Area College, we offer child development and engineering technology, industrial maintenance, law enforcement academy. We do a very good job with our law enforcement academy. We train lots of officers, and that's a 1-year certificate. So as you can see on the screen, there are lots of different areas that you can go into with a 1-year certificate. So information, this kind of is a great example. So information technology, it can be multiple degrees. So depending upon what you're wanting to do out in the workforce, a little bit of homework goes a long way. Making sure you know what degree you have to go into the workforce at what level you want to be at. So sometimes you only need a certificate. Information technology, you might just need a certificate, but maybe you need a degree to get into networking or security. You need higher levels to get into more experienced fields. So it does matter. And whenever you're going out to get your job and you're interviewing, it matters that you have a 1-year certificate for that specific job, or if you've continued on, usually that equals to a higher paying job, a higher paying position. And that's what's important to students. They want to know, what are those credentials I need to go out into the workforce? And that's where it's really beneficial to stay in touch with that advisor, because things are always changing, technology especially. So new jobs are being developed all the time, new careers, new education that needs to be obtained in order to get a specific job. So, and we know that we can see in many different areas in the technology piece in most recent years of degrees that have formed because of the way technology has changed. So let's talk about benefits of community college, because to me, I think community college is the best way to start. My son is at a community college. He's currently here at Mineral Area College. He is going to receive his degree in Associate of Arts and transfer on to the four-year university, where we transfer a lot of students and we have articulation agreements, which really help students get to the next level. So again, it's also personal for me as well, because I want to make sure that my family members have made the best choice for their education, and that we get out of college without debt. That's, without debt is the number one thing. And the next best thing is with the lowest amount of debt possible. So we're going to talk through that a little bit and how we can do it. But benefits of community college, this is where I always start talking to students and saying, all right, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about this. Where do you want to be? How many years do you want to be in school? What is your end goal? Let's talk about the end goal. What university are you thinking about? And let's work backwards and figure out, in the puzzle of education, in your journey of education, what pieces can we help you with at the community college to save you money, save you, and give you a good foundation for the university. Many times students in high school are not prepared to go off to the university. Let's just say, I will tell you, a lot of students that I talk to, and I do talk to many, even though I'm the dean of students, I'm out in the hallways, I'm in the high schools, I'm talking to students saying, what is it that makes you successful? How hard did you study in high school? And many times students will say, I didn't have to study, and so there's a big difference in college and high school. And so whenever you think about making that transition, it's a good way. So we just want to talk through that. What is your big picture? Think big, what university, and then let's work backwards and figure out what the community college can do to help you. But lower tuition is definitely one of them. Tuition means it's the cost of the class that you're sitting in. And so there is a lot of lingo in higher education that students sometimes get bogged down with. And it's a good idea to just sometimes, I've just told students, Google what it is. What questions do you have? Like, Google can answer a lot of things, right? But whenever you talk about college pricing, it's confusing, because one college might do one thing and another college might call it something else. Whenever you're looking at scholarships, and you just want to make sure that you're getting the best rate of what you want and what you're setting out to do. So whatever you choose, the first 2 years are going to be pretty much the same. And so what we are doing is, at the community college level, we're able to offer costs at a much less rate than the four-year universities. As you can see on this screen, anywhere from $400 to $600 per credit hour for some universities for just basic classes. So what we want to do at the community college is we offer it for much less. And we have fewer students in our class, which we're going to talk about in a minute as another benefit as well. But you can definitely see here in this cost comparison that going to college at the community college will save you thousands right off the bat. Fees are different. So you have a little fees at some colleges. It might be one big fee for everything. At other colleges, a fee might be associated with one particular course. So you need to be very clear on how those costs are being accumulated and what you are going to be charged. Some schools will require an activities fee. So fees can consume a whole lot of different things that you'll just want to be aware of as you move through this process. But cost of tuition is really, really important, and it is the number one thing that will that benefits students at the community college. At Mineral Area College, this is an example, our out-of-district students are $171 so per credit hour. So you can see that 171 versus 400 or 600 per credit hour, that's a big difference that saves you right off the bat. So definitely pay attention to tuition and fees. And attending a community college for 2 years enables you to get all your basic classes out of the way, saving that money. It's reducing the amount of money that you're going to have to borrow. And just, we know, because four-year schools are more expensive, you're going to have to borrow later on down the road. So we want to make sure that you're making a good financial decision and that you know exactly what you're paying for. Federal student loans require students to be enrolled half-time. So do remember this. I always talk to students in advising sessions about what does it mean to be full-time? What does it mean to be a part-time student? How will that impact my financial aid? Because every time you would drop or add once the semester begins, it can have a big impact on your financial aid. And so we want to make sure that whatever financial aid is in place, that you're not losing it as you move forward. So they just need to make sure when they, that they're not dropping out of classes, or if they do, because a grade might not be what you hope it to be, there are dates that you have to watch for that you can withdraw from and it not hurt your GPA. And so I think that's important, just as soon as you start the semester, to look for important dates, and every college will have a listing of those. And that way you'll know, like, hey, I'm not doing so hot in this class. If I go to financial aid and ask those questions, can I drop this? Is it going to impact my financial aid? And if not, then great. Is it going to hurt my GPA? Different things like that. So grade point average does matter, especially when it comes to financial aid. You want to make sure and keep that grade point average up. But we certainly don't want it to hinder your financial aid package, whatever that might be, if you were to withdraw from a class. So. But opportunity to improve your transcript. So some students come out of high school and they say, you know what, school just wasn't for me. I didn't like it. And I want to say to them, college is so different, right? It's so different. And scholarships can help offset high cost of tuition. Maybe your transcript isn't just exactly the way you wanted it in high school. Maybe you didn't have any hard classes. Maybe you didn't have to study and you're really worried about what college is going to do. But community colleges can help. Your transcript at a community college, once you attend, the four-year universities look at your college transcript and not so much at your high school transcript. So it's kind of like this do-over that you get to have if it wasn't rosy, as it says, in high school. You get a second chance to do whatever. You can start fresh at ground zero. You're right there. You can make all A's and change your grade point average from a high school grade point average that wasn't so hot to be a 4.0 or a 3.5, whatever that is. So make sure you're checking that out and paying attention, because grades do matter. And I will also mention some students do dual credit, and that does matter also. People ask all the time, so does my transcript, my GPA not matter until I go to college? If I'm taking classes in high school for college credit, college credit's college credit. So make sure if you enroll in college classes that you're doing the best and you're putting forth your best effort, making sure that you're doing good. But the other thing, of opportunity to improve your transcript, is that you get to select courses. So you do have a little bit of leeway in what courses you take each semester. And that also can help you improve your transcript too, pretty rapidly. If you took classes maybe in high school that you just didn't care about, your first semester of college, you might choose to take classes that are really important to you and that matter, which in turn, normally you have a passion for them, then you're going to do better in the class. And so that actually helps as well. Lower living costs. We have, at some community colleges, you will find that you must live on campus. Or let me back up a little bit. At universities, you might find that you have to live on campus and you have to pay that high price of college dorm rooms. And at a community college, you don't have to live on campus. Some colleges, we do. We house about 230 students every semester on our campus. So, but it just depends. It depends on which community college, but most of the time they're close to where you live. And so you can live at home and you don't have to move far away and you don't have to worry about where or whom, all of those things. Who am I gonna live with? What am I gonna do? What if I don't know anybody? That whole dorm thing adds a whole other level of stress too, right? So, but some community colleges, if that's what you like and you want to get that experience, some community colleges do offer housing and you can live there. But it does give you an opportunity to stay home and save hundreds of dollars each month, because it's not just your rent that you have to pay for. You got to think about utilities, you got to think about internet, you got to think about all those things. And it does talk about fraternities, sororities. Community colleges do not normally have those. That's more at the university level, but we have lots of other things we can offer. So we'll talk about that in a second too. But greater flexibility. So hefty price tags at the private university, only to realize that what if you thought you were going to go into education and you start going to classes that are about education, you realize real quick, whoa, we've covered some things that I really wasn't aware of, and that's really not for me. So community colleges give you a lot of flexibility for you to change your major, look at different classes, maybe take a semester at a lower cost, so that it looks like my screen has, am I stuck? At a much lower cost.
Okay.
Is it okay?
Yeah, you're good. Yes.
Okay, great. It looks like it's frozen, so I'm so sorry. So,
No.
but what you can do is just have that flexibility to change your major at a much lower cost, so that you can kind of just explore what different careers are they. And maybe you thought you might be interested in one specific business classes. What about maybe about welding, different things like that. You can check those out at a much lower cost before you actually transfer out to the next college or university. Easier to work, certainly. If you have school, many students do work, and if they aren't working, they want to, and maybe they just don't have the time to. And so we understand the flexibility students need. We know that many, so we work around their schedule. We have a work study program. A lot of schools will have work study. Definitely something you want to look into. And it's really fun because we work around your schedule, and the college is only open normally certain hours. And so you can kind of have a better judge of what hours you will be working versus nights that, if an employer may not care that you're in college, they just care that you're serving food to the customers of their business. So community college college and being able to work. And it's always a great way to do internships too, because then you get to kind of work within the field and know that that's really what you want to do. Support, cannot stress this enough. We have so much support on our campuses. Basics classes, whenever you talk about a big university, it is not uncommon to hear of a class being 150 students large. I mean, like large classrooms. And so many times the students that I come in contact with are really, really not interested in raising their hand in that class. When there are 150 other students, we find that students are much more comfortable in a smaller classroom, having a relationship with their instructors that they feel comfortable with. Our instructors have office hours. They're required to be in their office certain hours, and they post these on their syllabus, which is kind of like your guide for the class. And they post that at the beginning of the semester so students know exactly where their professors are, so that they can go in and talk with them about just a question or just how things are going. Our instructors care about our students. So four-year schools, a lot of times those tenured professors, they're having to do research, and they have publishing things that are in their contract for employment. In order for them to teach here again next year, they must publish certain things. And so Two-year schools, we don't have that. And we have fewer students per semester. Those requirements are not hindering on their contract coming back to teach next semester. Our instructors love teaching. They want to be here. They're here for the students. And you receive a whole lot of help and support because they actually have more time to give. And a lot of times, even at the community college, you will find sometimes that that your instructors might even be the tutors that are in the learning center. And so speaking of support, I always want to mention support in many ways, not support just of your instructor, but support of learning centers that you can go and get help, quick help on assignments. We have learning center tutors that also help for longer term things like a term paper, so they can work with you over time, which is really helpful as well. And I think there's this big myth that goes around about community college that our professors are not high quality. I'd like to end that myth because there are many, many of our instructors who have their doctoral degrees, who are either working in the field, have worked in the field, are giving back in other ways, and they're teaching students because they love it. This is what they want to do. They're highly qualified, and they choose to teach at the community college for a reason, because they want to have more one-on-one time with students. They don't want to have to go and write research and do those other additional tasks. So the flexibility that allows for the instructor is really attractive to those who want to help students succeed. And our instructors have to meet the same requirements educationally as the four-year institutions. So for instance, for a teacher, even in high school, to teach dual credit in the state of Missouri, like they must also meet the requirements of what the college has to which is 18 credit hours within their subject area. So they are very, very highly educated for their area and their subject. And sometimes in our career and technical field, those people are actually out working in the field and coming here to teach, to share their trade with others, which I think is pretty remarkable to do that as well. So elements of traditional college. Two-year college haven't always provided the same student experience, but I will tell you that's changing. It is definitely changing. At Mineral Area College, we've recently hired a student engagement employee who does nothing but help us engage our students. How can we get them involved? Because studies do show that students who are involved on campus tend to have higher grades and they're more successful. So of course, we want to make sure that students have some way to
I think we're going to have a little bit of technical difficulties. We lost Julie, but I'm sure that they're working previously behind the scenes to get her back on. So let me just take a little bit of time while we're waiting for Julie to come back to be able to reiterate some of the things that that she's discussed so far and been able to talk about community colleges. One of the big things that when she comes back, I'm going to really be able to talk to her about the price difference. We talk about community colleges being beneficial because you can save yourself thousands of dollars, but I want to be able to speak to her specifically regarding their credit hour that it costs to be able to go to a community college as opposed to credit hour that it costs to go to a regular four-year university. And I'm telling you right now, that can be, you know, as much as 3 to 4 times the much. And so we'll get with her on that. One of the things that she also spoke about was internships and career advancements. And so I want to be able to talk a little bit about that, because a lot of times there are students who will take that community college and transfer to a four-year university, but some of them will take what students call a gap year, and they'll take that associate's, that degree that they have for the community college, go out into the workforce first, and then be able to continue with education. So I want to be able to ask her how the community college is able to help with that. One of the things that that she specifically was talking about, and what I want to be able to address is that the larger classrooms, a student at a community college will probably, like they said, be in a classroom of 20 to 25, 25 to 30 students in a classroom, as to be in a lecture hall that has 100. And a lot of times students' personalities will determine whether or not it's best for them, whether they're really ready for that four-year university, or whether this community college will get them in for that transition. The other thing that the community college is good for, and we're going to be discussing with her, is that there's a lot of times where students not sure their major. Okay, if you're not sure of the major and not sure what you want to do, okay, do you really want to take the waste your money being able to take an English 101 class? English 101 at the community college is the same English 101 at a traditional university. Okay, it's all going to translate over into your main college career, but you can save yourself some time and some money by being able to explore your options at a less amount. It's like, if I got to look for something, let me look for two different things or whatever at a less amount, as opposed to looking at a four-year university that's higher. One of the reasons that this happens is that for most four-year universities, there is a small percentage of students who actually finish the university in 4 years. And it's usually like, it's usually the 5 or 6 years. Most universities are doing that. And the reason that they become the 5 or 6 years is because students spend the first 2 years not knowing what they're going to do, changing their major several times, having to go back and retake classes over and over and over again. Whereas if you're going to do that, if you're not sure, do that at the community colleges, take the classes at the community college, or whatever, so you can then figure out what you want to do when you grow up. Figuring out what you want to do at the community college, and then when your transfers over to a traditional university, it's going to be a lot easier. The other thing that's going to be able to be helpful as being part of the community college world would be study groups. They talked about the classrooms being smaller than at a typical university. And sometimes one of the biggest things that I found as a university is that my students didn't have really good study habits. Well, if you're in a class and you don't have really good study habits, and maybe one of your classmates does, or you're not that comfortable with a particular subject, like I wasn't with science, or statistics, and one of my classmates might be, better off with that. It was easier to form a study group when there's only 25 to 30 students in a class, as opposed to doing it in a big lecture hall, with others. And then sometimes some of the assignments require you to work in groups, because when you get out into the workforce, you're going to have to be able to work with people. So they'll be able to help you initiate that kind of information that you're going to go to there. So we're going to be able to take a look at asking her all of those questions when she comes back. But while we wait on that, let's get into some of the additional resources that they have looking for scholarships while we wait on Julie to get back. So John, if you could just bring up my additional resources slide. And we'll be able to go from there. Thank you. Thank you. So let me tell you a little bit about Infinite Scholars. And so as we get ready to go through, Infinite Scholars is a nonprofit organization, and we do one thing only. We help students with the resources necessary to be able to go to college, so financial resources. So having said that, if you go to our website, www.infinitescholar.org, you'll see the resources tab. Because again, that's what we do. We provide resources. One of the resources that we have is that we have created a scholarship guide. Now, we spend a lot of time during the off season helping with students, making sure that we provide them with the resources, and we put this all in the guide. So if you click on scholarship guide, here's what you're going to come up with. Here's the scholarship guide. It is 40 pages chock full of information that you're going to be able to utilize, you know, in as you going to looking for scholarships and being able to see how to get along. Insight, you'll see that Insight, it talks about how to graduate debt free, you know, and it's either debt free or almost debt free. The other thing, it talks about Uncle Sam and helping to pay for college. We're going to talk about that. Scholarships and how to find them and win them, you know, being able to talk about that. So some of the topics that are in there are the federal grant programs. Now, one of the things that you'll recognize when you start talking about finance, and you'll see this based on some of our previous presentations, is that when you see the word grant, that's free money, okay? The federal government is the largest supplier of grant money in the absolute nation. They've got billions of dollars, $800 billion, I think was the last estimate that I looked at in federal money. So if you happen to look at the news and they were like, oh, the economy is bad and things are going bad, and the economy may be bad, but guess who still has money and money for you to be able to go to college? That would be the federal government. And one of the biggest things is that as much money as they have, they still end up with leftover money every year because people don't realize that they have money and don't realize that they've got grant money that you can pay back, that you don't have to worry about paying back. So that's information in there on that. I just did a presentation earlier today for a group of students here in our local area, and they were shocked to find out that there were actually places, 11 to be, it's 11, for example, 11 states that have a tuition-free option, absolutely, where you can actually go to college tuition-free, no money out of pocket. You know, they have this program where they finance it through it, but you can actually go to college for free now. And then there's city and state tuition free options. And so there, again, our scholarship guide list, we talk about community college, our scholarship guide lists a lot of community colleges where you can actually go for free. And what is that saving you money? If you could go to community college, get your associate's degree for free, and then transfer over to a four-year university, look how much money that you saved yourself, you know, and being able to do that if you were going to go for free, as opposed to even the lesser amount that it costs. So you'll be able to do that. Being able to take a look at the next one, okay. Being able to work your way through college. One of the things that when you're working your way through college, I was just in the drive-through at McDonald's the other day, probably getting something that I didn't need to be getting in the first place. And so they had the advertisement where they were hiring for a new worker. So they were like, you know, hey, you could get a job here. And they said, and the incentive was a side order, you know, that says, hey, an extra side of tuition assistance. So if you're working at, you know, if you're working at the community college, you can actually get an additional $3,000 in scholarship money being able to go on for that. So I'm getting the note from my tech people that we're able to, we got Julie back on. I apologize for the technical difficulties. We're going to finish this and I'm going to come back here and go over this with you again. Okay, I think I lost her again. Okay, we're going to keep on going here. Okay, so being able to work your way through college. Okay, and it's just, you know, the example that I got was, you know, through McDonald's. One of the presenters this past week talked about somebody who just had a part-time job in the summer at a car wash. It was just a part-time job at a car wash in the summer. They happened to ask their employer, did they have tuition assistance? And yep, and they got $2,000 to go to college just by a summer part-time job. So as you're working, depending on part-time jobs, a lot of our students would have part-time jobs. Ask your employer, do they have tuition assistance and how do you go about getting it? If you're, one of the things that, again, like community college is dear to our heart, dear to my heart, paying for college through service is also dear to my heart. you can actually go to college and have your college debt paid for by service. The military is an option. ROTC is an option, which is one of our major supporters that we have here. It's an option to making sure that you can actually like go through and get your degree paid for exactly while you're going to school, while you're going to college, and then you can graduate debt free. They pay for all your college, and then when you graduate, you actually have a career that you're going into. If you go through the military option or whatever, you graduate, and the very career is going to start paying you $60,000. There are a lot of careers that don't even start. You know, you'll be working for years before you get to $60,000. So there's some that are going to be able to do that, paying for college through service. Okay, so I see that Julie's back on here. Okay, so I am going to like stop sharing my screen. Well, I'm asked John to stop sharing my screen. Okay, so Julie, we had a little bit of technical difficulties. I was trying to fill in with your shoes by talking, like doing the tap dance while you were there.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay. Okay, no problem. That's why we do this. This happens. Okay, so I'm gonna let you go back ahead and share your screen and take over. And then I'm still here taking notes. I've already prepped them for some questions I have for you. And so when you come back, we'll be good to go. So go ahead and share your screen.
Okay. Host disabled participants share screenings. So I don't know if
John, you probably need to make her the co-host again, since she went out and came back in. Julie, no problem. We have a great editing team, and so they're going to be edit out all the bloops and things or whatever that we've done when we get ready to host this platform. Okay.
Okay, do we know where I left off at? Maybe around 19 limited course offerings.
It was 16, 17.
Okay. Oh, 16, 17. Okay. And can you see my slides?
I can't see them yet. All right, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna go off and let you continue. Julie, actually, you could probably go to 19. I think we talked about the professors.
Okay. The drawbacks, did we start on the drawbacks?
Nope, go back. Okay. Yeah, let's start there.
Okay.
Okay.
So, alrighty, so let me get back to, so we'll go to 17. Let's start there. Okay. So elements of traditional college, and what we want to say is that two-year colleges haven't always provided the same student experience as the four-year school, like fraternities, sororities. We don't have near as many sports, but I will say that's changing. Mineral Area College recently hired a student engagement person whose her whole job is to make sure that students have and feel connected to the institution. And so we want to make sure through whatever that is, if you were in student government in high school and you want to participate in that, or if you want to be in any club and organizations, maybe you're interested in business or you're interested in an honor society, we have all of those as well. And so, but that's something that you can get involved in, and we want to make sure that community colleges offer that. But that's new. I mean, a lot of times that hasn't always been the case, but making sure it is possible to find extracurricular activities. You can work on campus through work study, you can work off campus. There's lots of internships, many networking opportunities that you can have at the community college. So we do talk about drawbacks. There are a couple drawbacks to the community college, and as long as you know these up front, many people are just absolutely fine with them, and they don't seem to be a drawback at all. So it's just a matter of having the knowledge to know what those things are as you move forward. So community colleges do have limited course offerings because we are 70% of students intend to transfer onto the four-year university. So upon graduation, that's what they want to do. And knowing this, helps us to better schedule classes because we have to have more general education courses. And it's great for students for them to have opportunities in different classes, but yet the downside is that you're probably not going to find those unique classes, say microbiology courses at the four-year institution, whereas the community college are going to offer classes like zoology, biology, and those things to get you prepared for the higher level courses. So we hear a downside might be the lack of campus life. Well, lack of campus life to whom? And I think it just matters of who you're speaking to. So some students really want to be involved, they want to be active, and they want all these things to do, and they're prepared for attending college. But two-year colleges, we still offer some of those, just on a different level. Some community colleges, they're saying don't offer the college atmosphere. But again, going back, many colleges are looking to this engagement because we know that students who are actively involved have better grades, better time management, and so that it actually helps them to be successful. So we're working hard to create that atmosphere to students, and we do student surveys and we figure out what it is that they want so that we can provide that for them. And then the other downfall that you hear sometimes are about transfer snafus, and that some community colleges, we have transfer agreements. We want to make sure that we know where our students are transferring to. We do that through the National Clearinghouse, so we know where our students go. And we work really diligently, our instructors, our professors, make sure that we have agreements with other universities, especially those that we transfer many students to make sure if you're taking education classes with us, you want to make sure that transfers smoothly into the four-year institution. So the problem is that unless you do your research, you might end up taking some classes that aren't for the four-year school, or you might finish a class with a C when your dream school requires you to have a B for those credits to transfer. So you just got to pay attention. You just got to know, you got to do a little bit of homework. This isn't like, hey, show up, I'm here. Like, let's do some homework, working with that advisor to make sure that you know exactly where you're going. Students change their mind too. So it may not be that you're 100% sure on where you're going. And you may just want to find out what happens if I transfer to University A or University B. What are the differences? And that can always be helpful. So knowing those things up front is really, really helpful in success. And again, I cannot stress enough working with that advisor as you move forward. So the final word is just that community colleges can be a perfect choice for students who wish to save money. They want to reduce their dependence on student loans. Our goal is for students to graduate from us with the least amount of financial debt as possible. We know when you get ready to transfer that you are going to have a lot more money that you have to put out in order to get your degree at the university. So we want to make sure that we keep that very, very low. There are scholarships. There's so many ways that you can get help for going to college. So it's also a good way to help recent high school graduates ease into college life, build successful learning strategies before they transfer to that bigger institution. So we welcome you to have any questions for us. We want you to be successful. We wish you the best of luck as you go through your college journey, and let us know if we can ever be of any assistance to you. So Dr. Dorsey, I will stop sharing and send this back over to you.
Okay, then we're good to go here. Wait for you to stop sharing.
I've clicked the button and it's just spinning.
Yeah, we see it is taking a little bit of time. Okay. Well, don't worry about it. While we're waiting for the screen to stop sharing or whatever, Julie, let's have a conversation, you and I, because even though they can't see you until John gets back in the background and fixes that stop sharing. Okay, one of the things that I was talking to, that I was saying as you were off, we were getting back, that I was going to come back and talk to you about is the price difference in community college as opposed to four-year university. Okay, so Julie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yes, the cost.
Okay, so I can't see you necessarily, but I can hear you. Okay, so we'll be good to go. So Julie, one of the things that I was going to say, could you give the students an example, because you work with transfer universities a lot too? Can you you can give the student example of a price per credit hour at a community college versus the price per credit hour at a four-year university, or the price per class, whichever is easier for you to be able to give the difference to.
Right. At a community college, like for what we do is we transfer students to our state school a lot. We transfer to big universities here in the state of Missouri. Our out of district rate is $171 per credit hour. And so because
Okay. All right, we lost Julie again. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go back into our resources, and we're going to wait and make sure that we get Julie back and that everything is good, our bandwidth is good. And then we're going to go over all of these questions that I have for her when we get done. So John, if you'll just like cue me back up to where we were talking about the additional resources. All right then, so here we were, this is where we got started. Paying for college through service. Again, this is one of my favorite things, being able to take to talk about this again, because this is something that I experienced in our family. And I think the thing that makes us really good here at Infinite Scholars is that not only have we been working with students over 20 years, just with this organization, and some of us more so than that, but we're also able to bring our human, real life lived experiences regarding scholarships or whatever. Every person here at Infinite Scholars does this for the love of what we're doing, and because we recognize the need of doing it. So the military is an option, but there's also an option that there's other things. If you think that teaching is a good option for you, there's a Teach grant that will help pay for your college tuition if you agree to teach in an area where they see that there's a high need for students. We see a lot of areas now where they've got like a lot of charter schools, and so when they have a lot of charter schools, then the public schools actually need teachers, and so this is a good area. So they're willing to pay bonuses or pay some of your student loan, for that too. Then there's other different things, and the scholarship guide gives you information on that. The presentation that I did earlier today was for a group of students, and they were middle students, high school students, okay, and some elementary school students who weren't paying attention to anything I had to say. But the high school students were very, very interested in something that we call micro scholarship options, okay? And you'll find this in our tuition guide. So what that does is that it allows students to be able to earn scholarship money while they're in school. There's a platform, called Raise Me, and it talks about the whole thing. But I was explaining to the students, back in the day, if you got good grades, your parents or grandparents would say, you're going to get $5 for every A, and so much for every B. But in this micro scholarship program, you can get $400 for every A that you take in, and scholarship money that's geared towards scholarships that you imagine. Imagine you're going to get money for every A that you're going to get. You're going to get money for taking, an AP class, being able to do that. If you belong to a club or sorority and you've got a leadership role in that, you're going to get money for that. If you do a college visit, you're going to get money for that. So all of this money you can be able to earn exactly right now while you're in school. Okay. One of the things that I did is that there are 2 pages in this book of scholarships that are actually there. Like, you don't have to go and do any work at all. We put 2 pages of need-based and special interest scholarships. We listed the scholarship, we listed the number of scholarships that are available, we listed the value of the scholarships, anywhere from $1,000 to $20,000. And then we went one step further and gave you the website that you could actually go to be able to making sure that you find out the scholarship and that you can and then you can apply for it. No need to do any work on your own. We've already done all the work and vetted all of these scholarships to know that they're out here and legitimate and things of that nature. Okay. One of the things that we had, one of the presentations we had the other night was talking about scholarship essays. And there are some scholarships, and again, And the scholarship guide, I list, a half a dozen different scholarships that all you have to do in order to get to qualify for this scholarship is write an essay. Well, writing an essay might be easy, but writing a winning essay is something that's absolutely going to be spectacular. And this is what the guide is known to help you out with this. Then one of the things that we did yesterday, we had a great presentation on scholarship scams. And what we talked about is how to avoid scholarship scams. And you see on the news all the time where people are paying people to be able to get their kids in college and being able, to circumvent the system to be able to get in college, as well as people who are trying to take advantage of some of the students in college. And so we have something in the guide that tells you how to avoid all of those pitfalls or whatever when it comes to scholarships and trying to get people to pay you money, to be able to help with getting scholarships. You should never have to do that. There's enough free information out there, resources. If nothing else, we're definitely a resource to be able to do that. One of the other things that we have in our resources tab is the ability to be able to talk to colleges. We all know that in the real world, sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. And so we wanted to make sure that our students at Infinite Scholars had access to the colleges that have traveled with us on a regular basis. Now, there are over 4,000 colleges in the system in the United States, okay? A handful of them are traveling with us. So when you click on this college video library, let me tell you what you're gonna get. Okay, you're going to get more than 100 colleges that have created videos for you to watch. Now, these are not just the videos, yada, 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 this is the college or whatever. I asked them to be very specific and being able to create the videos about the admissions and the scholarship opportunities at their college, being able to take a look at that. So that's some of the videos that you're going to watch. Now, how are you going to do this? Okay, so I asked them to show you how you can schedule a one-on-one session with that particular college rep. So when you call the colleges based on the information that we're going to provide, you're not going to go to an 800 number that's going to have you transfer, press 1 for this and 8 for this or whatever. These ones are going to go directly to the college reps. Okay, so let me give you a visual of what that looks like. All right, so again, we've got 100 colleges that travel with us on a regular basis, and most of our scholarship fairs, you're going to have 40 to 50 at a time. Okay, so what we did is that we put them all out here, we put them in alphabetical order. Okay, so I'll just give you an example here. Alabama A&M University. So you see that we have the name of the university there, and then we have the city and state where it's located. Up under that, you'll see a brief, paragraph about that university, just an overall brief paragraph. But more importantly, up under that, you can see that if you want to schedule a session at Alabama A&M University or whatever, you've got the direct link to be able to talk to that person there, Courtney Smith, and you've got the email address to be able to reach out to Courtney. In addition, if you click on the video, you listen to the video, a lot of times in the video, college reps want you as much as you want them. And so in the video, they'll give you their cell phone number, they'll give you their house number, they'll give you their office number, they'll give you their mother's number, and they will tell you that they will answer the phones late at night and on the weekends and sometimes during the holidays. Okay, most college recruiters are doing this because of the love of what it is that they're doing. And so you've got that information for more than 100 universities. You can when you schedule on here and take a look at the video, that'll give you that. Some of the videos are only 3 to 5 minutes long, the promos. Some of them, okay, because I have a tendency to be able to talk a lot, they're like 30-minute presentations where we really got into the scholarships and what they have available. But this is one of the things that they have. But either way, this is how you can reach directly to a college or university and being able to talk to a college or university and get that one-on-one information that you have with them. So.
Dr. Dorsey, I hope things are better. I think I'm back now.
Okay, then that's
for the
fine.
moment.
That's fact. Okay, so Julie, what I'm gonna do, okay, well, John says we're back together. Okay, so we're back again. All right then. So no problem. Okay, so we've got each other here. We can see each other. Let's get going. We were talking about the price difference, the price between the cost of a credit hour or a class at the community college as opposed to the credit hour or class at the university. So you can go back to tell me what you were telling me about that.
Okay, so yes, definitely. At a community college, it is going to be much less expensive. Currently at Mineral Area College, $171. So compared to what a four-year university might be, up to almost $600 per credit hour, it makes a big, big difference. I mean, at the price tag. And so, but what I was saying earlier was that, you know, we really want students to make sure they understand what they're purchasing. And it is a product. You're purchasing your education. And so making sure that you're doing the research, comparing apples to apples. A lot of times once you apply and you've completed your FAFSA, you're going to get an award notification, which I'm sure you've talked about in previous webinars. But an award notification, our financial aid director always tells students, take out your highlighters, get you a red highlighter, get a green highlighter. You know, the red are things that you're going to have to pay back. Those are loans, and those are the things that you are actually going to have to pay for. And then get your green highlighter, and what are those things that you don't have to pay for, and making sure that you're aware, and what are those differences in the college. A scholarship you don't pay for, you don't pay back, and that FAFSA, you don't have to pay back that Pell Grant. And so those are green. So we want as many of those as possible so that we can offset anything that we might have to pay back. And when it comes down to tuition, wow, that could be a big, big difference.
Right. Julie, I was telling our audience that, and you can probably speak to this too, is that in a typical four-year university, there is the graduation rate is not at 100%. Everybody's not going to finish in 4 years. Most of them finish in 6 years. That the going joke is like the 5 to 6 years. And the reason that they have that gap is that so many students are changing their majors, where if they had taken the time to maybe spend that time at a community college, that would have saved them that 6-year gap. You know,
Sure.
they really could have done finished in 4. So can we talk to that?
Absolutely. And you know what else? We find that students maybe just don't have the study skills to go off to the four-year school. So even that, you know, a grade point average could hinder them and make them have to stay even longer as well. And so, yeah, as a community college, you can kind of pick, I have this number of electives. So you know what, 18 to 20 hours of elective credit that I get to choose from. So maybe I want to try a business class. Maybe I want to try a welding class. Maybe I want to try, you get the opportunity then to kind of pick and choose what those electives are and figure out what they can, what their interests are, and just find out, is that really, you know, you're able to ask that instructor who's been in the field or has skills in that field, that you can definitely pick their brains and say, you know, what are people in this industry making? What do I expect as I graduate?
Julie, when we talk about the fact that, you know, student study habits, one of the things that I wrote a note down is that we talked about the class size from 25 to 30 students as opposed to, you know, 150 to 200 students in a lecture hall. You know, I know from an instructor's point of view, I'd much rather teach to a group of 25, 30 students than 150 at a lecture hall. But for our students who are not, like you said, always there yet, they're not sure, isn't it easier to be able to form a study group with people if there's only 25 people in the class, as opposed to making sure that you're trying to figure out at 150 people in the class that you don't know? And I was saying that, and again, at some of the universities where I've taught, some of the assignments are broken out into group assignments because they're small groups. So it's even smaller than the class or whatever that gets you working and interacting with people. So is that something that you experience?
We definitely experience that. And a lot of times our instructors will even set up small groups and study halls that, hey, I'm going to have a chemistry study hall upstairs in the library every week at this time, and I want to see you all there. So not only is it that they have study groups, but it may even be their instructor taking extra time outside of the classroom to go and want to see their students succeed and just see that light bulb come on, and making sure that they understand the materials that are going to be on the test coming up, or how this piece of material is going to build on next week's material. And so, yes, absolutely, it becomes easier. It's easier to form relationships with those students and know that, hey, I can ask Sally who sits next to me, hey, I'm not worried about raising my hand in a classroom of 300 students. Students are intimidated by that. We find that students are very intimidated, and then they don't seek out the answers to their questions sometimes because of that. And so we feel like having smaller our classroom size, 24 students. I mean, that is an average here on our campus. And I think students really appreciate that. And they become, not only those instructors are the people that they're going to class to listen to a lecture, but they might also be at the Learning Center tutoring with them. They might find a study group outside of class with that instructor, or another instructor that they might put them in contact with to say, hey, maybe hearing it from Mr. Byers might be better for you, rather than hearing it from me again. So let me set up something for him to meet with you all.
Right. And Julie, that is actually something, because, again, as a university professor, if I'm identifying several students in my class that are struggling, it is easier for me to put together a work study group that I'm going to do outside outside the classroom. Nobody's intimidated. I'm not picking on one-on-one because I put together, a small group. But I've also had, because my skill was in teaching students how to write, which is a skill. I've had other instructors go, you know what, Ms. Dorsey runs this great workshop on, how to write, and the writing formula, whatever, maybe you should, so they gave them an additional assignment. If you'll take Ms. Dorsey's workshop, then I'm allow you to resubmit this assignment. So
Absolutely.
the instructors work well together as well as the students.
Indeed, it certainly does. And I think that's good because our instructors too have time to collaborate amongst each other. And so they can kind of find out, like, are there certain skills that students are not able to, that they're maybe this semester for some reason, maybe I just didn't teach it right. Maybe it just didn't come out the way I had hoped it would come out, and that students aren't getting the objectives like we thought they would, or we had hoped that they would. And so definitely our instructors then can also collaborate as well, because they have time to do that. They have office hours. They're there. They're here. I mean, they are here on campus, and they don't have to do those research projects, and they don't have other obligations other than to teach.
Right.
Mhm.
Julie, can we talk to the one of the fact that I'm looking at my teaching at the university and looking at the students and the benefits of a community college. And one of the things is that the students who are not sure exactly what their major is, and again, as we said, I've done this. What are the benefits, and do you have in your academic advising? One of the things that I've advised and we started working it in our class, is doing a personality test, because a lot of times that personality test, and then you take the personality test based on your personality. Here's a career field that you might want to go into based on that. I see my students struggling, or whatever. So here's a recommendation. Does academic advising, because again, you're able to work one-on-one with students. Do you see that type of thing, at a community college?
We do, and we actually have a career planning office that helps students. So there are many things. Our career planning office will help them sit down and, of course, do those career assessments and find out, okay, well, you're enrolled in all these classes for education, but after you look at your personality test, it's saying that maybe you might find these other careers might be of interest to you as well. And so it helps them to do that. And a lot of times we have undecided students. They just know they want to go to college. They know they need college in their life. They're just not sure what. So those undecided students actually utilize our career services as well to help them find a field, and pair those, like, what are my values? What are my skills that I bring to the table currently? What do I want in life? And so all of those things added together really help form us, because, right, we want to enjoy what we're doing if we're going to work forever, right? I mean, we want to like what we do. And I can honestly say that there have been very few days in my career that I have walked through the door going, oh, I really just don't want to be here. Most every single day, I am so anxious to talk to students. Like, I love coming through the doors of a community college. It is wonderful. And, and I think people see that, they feel that, our instructors are walking in with them. Our instructors are, going to an event with the students. We have lots of activities. We just had a spring picnic last Friday. It was awesome. Faculty are mingling with students and helping them just to find out, how to communicate, and that with other people who have a higher degree. Some people are intimidated by that, and they shouldn't be, but they are. Right. And so we love the community college atmosphere, and it just brings students are really, really successful. Many of them are successful, whether it's the smaller classroom size, whether it's the ability to visit with that instructor more frequently. There are lots of things that fold into the success of students.
Right, absolutely. When we talk about the success of students, and you sort of touched on it, and I want to be able to include that again, we talk about the career advancement. A lot of times students will, instead of going from high school into college, they'll take a quote unquote gap year. Okay, now I've never understood the concept of that. I'm an old school teacher. Okay, so that gap year don't make no sense to me whatsoever. But but at a community college, okay, a lot of students will say, let me take this associate's degree, let me go work in this field for a year or two before I transfer to a 4-year college, or I can go to a 4-year college while I'm working. So I know you have a career advancement area, career advising area, but does the school have internships and things of that nature to be able to get a student to say, hey, you know what, let's try this out, make sure that this is what you think you really want to do?
Right. Certain degrees require an internship, which I think is really, really important to the student. It helps them get out into the workforce and see what that is like, understand it, ask questions. And so some programs have them, but we also have work study, and work study is a great way to also find that out. So if it's a job or career that you're interested in that we have on our campus, that's another way for students to get involved and determine if that's the right path.
Right.
And it helps financially. So it's kind of like a win-win, right?
It's absolutely a win-win. So when having said that, I think one of the things that we would tell our students on campus too is that employers know that if they're looking for good quality employees, one of the places that they can always go is to the college to be able to find them. Okay, so do we have the point? Because so we would tell our students, okay, listen, we got so-and-so coming in today, and they're going to be looking for to hire 3 or 4 people, so they're going to be in the classroom sitting back monitoring, be on your best behavior. So do you have community employers working with you, looking at employees sometimes?
Certainly we do. We actually have a transfer fair every single semester also, and we bring employers from around our area because that's what we want to do. We're not successful if the students aren't, and so we want to make sure we're finding that employment for them after college. If they're 2 years here and want to go out into the workforce right away, we have those transfer fairs every single semester, and it's a fun day because you can see the students, actually the light bulbs coming on. They're like, you mean they'll even come up there, they're going to pay me X number of dollars to go and do what I just studied, Yes, this is why you're here. This is what we want to do. We want to partner together, and we want to make sure that we have those employers coming here. We want to make sure those students are getting in touch with those employers. And right now, the job market is wonderful for students coming out of college. They just have all kinds of options at this point in time.
Right. Julie, one of the things that when we were talking about, I'm talking about the students at a traditional college taking 4 to 6 years to graduate, as opposed to that. Are we seeing that the graduation rate at a community college at a higher level, more of them are able to get out in 2 years as opposed to 3, compared to the regular traditional university?
Well, our advising is holistic. So we want to make sure students come with all kinds of things that may prohibit them from graduating on time. And so we really try to work with those things as well. And like I said, going back to that roadmap earlier, it's just we want to have that conversation from the moment you walk in the door with the advisor. Let's talk about what is the time frame. Are you wanting to be out of here in 2 years? And if that's the case, did you take any classes in high school? How does that help you? Let's lay out the plan for the next semesters. Are you wanting to go in the summer? Or you want your summers off so you can work? All of those conversations will have an impact on when you graduate, right? So if you want to only go 6 hours and you want to be part-time, it's going to be extended. And so it just really varies on the particular student. Our goal as advisors is 2 years, because we know the longer you're in school, the more debt you could rack up, and that's not what we want for students. So we want to encourage them to get in and out in 2 years. But federal government says 150%, 3 years is still okay. And some students even go beyond that by only going part-time because they may be a parent Oh my goodness, we have a lot of students that are raising children and working a full-time job, and they know that they want to come back to college. They know that that is the right thing for them. And so they're not going full-time. And you know what? That's okay too. Just as long as we're all having this communication and we understand where we are in the process, so that we can help you.
Okay, all right then. I know that I wanted to be able to take a, you know, a look also at the community college as opposed to a traditional university, and making sure that students were graduating on time, and making sure that students were involved in the community. How involved are some of the students? I know from a career standpoint, but for like give back in the community services, you know, I know a lot of the community colleges interact really well with the communities, so that student who may be a quiet or shyer student or whatever, who this is their time to be able to blossom and bloom. I know you work from a holistic approach, so talk a little bit about that holistic approach at a community college.
Right. Many community colleges will have like a mentoring system, and they pick up, you know, it could vary because lots of clubs and organizations will do civic and philanthropic different events. And so students can have the choice whether they've been participating at all throughout the whole year. If there's something that piques their interest, like they're walking down the hall and, hey, look at this, we're going to go and work at the shelter today, or we're going to go to the adoption center, whatever that might be. We have opportunities for students to do that. And so all colleges are very different in that. Some are very, very ingrained in giving back, and some are giving it this to the student and allowing them to help out. But many of our clubs and organizations do that here on our campus, and it's really fun. So we do lots of food drives. We do lots of pickup in the community. We've gone to the pet adoption center. We've gone to help out at the definitely the food bank. I mean, that's a big one for us, and it just depends on your certain community as to what might be more prominent on that campus than others.
Okay. Julie, when we talk about the students and the success students coming on board, we know that one of the reasons that we convince students to come to a community college is that they're just not ready academically for a 4-year. So is there a probationary type of track that we can get students on to be able to make sure that their skill level gets up to where they need to be in order to be successful? And we know this may take like the 3 years instead of 4, but we're easing them into it as opposed to just throwing them in.
I agree that I think that's one thing that we do really well. And we have classes from everything from the basic math class all the way up to the higher level math classes. Same thing goes for English. If you are not prepared to write research papers, we certainly have classes that can help you get to be a really good research writer, okay? So we just kind of have to work through that. What we do at Mineral Area College is we use multiple measures, and a lot of schools do this. There are different theories at different institutions, and you just have to kind of, again, do your research, make sure. We use your ACT score, or what we call the AccuPlacer, and we also look at your high school GPA. And so we use those two as measures in order to place you in the appropriate English, reading, and math courses. And so not all students are going to be prepared for Comp 1. Not all students are going to be prepared to go into statistics or quantitative reasoning. They're just not. And you know what? That's okay. It's all right, because you know what? The end result, we're all going to get there. It's just some people have to take a little bit different path to refresh. And maybe they weren't even like in that particular class. Sometimes they're like, I didn't even listen in that class. Like I just was able to get right through and didn't have to study. Well, you know what? They get to college and they're like, whoa, I didn't learn how to do this. And so we have those classes that help them. In a community college, it's not going to just say, throw you into a college math class and say sink or swim. You know, we really want to go on the foundation of what your skill set is and what your basis is, so that we can build upon that as you go. And that does make a big difference for students. It's just being scared to take that, what some still may call college algebra. We've kind of moved away from college algebra, so we're doing different math classes based on your career path. And so that does matter. whether you're taking statistics or whether you're taking quantitative reasoning or whether you're taking calculus, pre-calculus. So those different pathways give the student the opportunity. If I'm really not good in math, I can choose a career field that I don't have to have calculus. I can choose a career path that maybe requires me to have a different math course. And so I do think that helps students, because college algebra was a big hang up for graduation for many, many, many years.
It is funny that you say that too, because before I go into my next question, like my story is like the same thing. When I picked my master's degree, I specifically picked something that wasn't going to have statistics, okay? Because statistics stopped me from being a 4.0 student and being a 3.89 student or whatever, because no matter what, I was not feeling that particular class. So I went through, it's like, okay, what is it that I can take that doesn't require me to take the statistics class?
That's right. But we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses. And I think we have to identify them, and we all know them. We just have to be upfront about it. And I think sometimes the funniest advising sessions are those that the student just comes in and says, put me in whatever. No, no. I could put you in classes, but it might not be what you want. And we want to form this mutual agreement of, here's what you got to have, but then let's fit in, like, what are your goals? I mean, this is not for me. This is all for the student. And so we've got to kind of talk through that. Like, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? That is part of the conversation we have with advisees. Definitely, because most of the time they know, we all know as humans, we know what our weaknesses are. We know what our strengths are. And we can build from that.
Right. So Julie, my last question is, like, those of us who teaching, who are in the industry because we love it, obviously you're there and that comes across. One of my favorite times a year is graduation. Okay.
Yes.
Pomp and Circumstance is my favorite song in the entire world. And so can we speak to the fact that at your community colleges, at many community colleges, doesn't this not bolster the student's ability, even after 2 years, to have the whole 9 yards graduation and not waiting to 4 years? So it's like, okay, if I could do this in 2, you imagine what the graduation is going to be like. So do you all make a big deal out of graduation? Like,
it is the best day on campus by far. It's my favorite, especially coming from admissions, because we see the students early on. We might see them in 8th grade, right? And we start this relationship with the student. And I have many student success stories that I'm sitting here running through my head of these successive students. And those were, you see them and you watch them grow while they're here in 2 years. You can see their personality, you can see their character, you can just watch them just blossom. And then they walk across the stage at graduation. So our success in education is not overnight, right? Where some people may have that in their career, it's not for us. For me, and as the Dean of Students and working in admissions, it's just the joy that we have when we see students who have completed their 2-year degree. Graduation is by far the best day of campus, and we go all out. Campus looks awesome. We have live band for our Pomp and Circumstances. Like, we do it right. And so it's so fun and such a big day. And this year will be a really special day for me because my son's going to be graduating with his associates. Not sure how I'm going to be able to read all the names, and there's going to be my son walking in front of me and my nephew. So it's going to be like, oh my gosh, this is just so joyful. But yes, we definitely do it up right. And it's interesting to me, as in those advising sessions, some of the last ones that we have with students, they're like, I'm not going to walk. You're what? You're not going to walk at graduation? I don't know how many students through the years that I have convinced that this is a big day. You've got to walk at graduation. Like, we want to celebrate you. We want to celebrate our students. And this is the only time that we get to do that for them. So we do it right. And it's always a fun day. And forget the pandemic where we had to do it online. That was like awful. I hated that. It just seemed like it's been forever, but we did have ours last year in person, which was great. And we will, of course, this year. So I hope, through the years, I've convinced many students, like, you got to do this. Like, this is for you. This is for you. And then they come back and say, thanks for talking me in.
Glad we did. Okay, good. I could probably go on and on and on. I probably got like a whole list of, questions we could talk about, but I know John wants me to make sure that I get back on schedule. If you could just stick around, in case we've got any last minute questions or chats or last minute, speech that you want to be able to give out. So, John, if you'll send me back to where I was in my presentation, and Julie will just stick around here with me. All right, then. One of the things that I found as an instructor is that my students fell into 3 categories. Okay, they were auditory. They would listen to a presentation based on something like that Julie or anybody would have to say. Some students are really good at that. Some of the students were kinesthetic. They need to have something in their hand, and so we would make handouts and stuff for them. They actually like reading the books or whatever. But the large majority of my students are visual. Okay, they like the videos, they like interaction in class or whatever. This is what stimulates them and keeps them going. So when we worked with Infinite Scholars, I created it from that standpoint. As an instructor, my students like videos. I'm going to put some videos out here in a resources tab. So if you go to resources, one of the topics you have is topic video libraries. Okay, so we're not going to show any videos, but let me tell you what some of the videos are here. And students, these videos are not long videos. They're like 3 to 5 minute videos, something short, sweet that you can have because y'all live in that short, sweet environment of social media, being able to take a look at that. One of the first ones we have is the FAFSA overview. Okay, as Julie will tell you, anybody that's been speaking this week, that FAFSA is the first thing that you have to complete so you'll know exactly what you're looking for from a finance standpoint or another. And it's a great overview. It's a great short one that the parents can take a look at. So when you walk into the finance office, you'll probably have some, questions that you can be able to answer, and at least you'll have some advanced knowledge. One of the biggest things, Julie just got finished talking about looking at a student's ACT or SAT and looking at your grades to determine exactly where you want to be placed. And so here's the big thing. There's a controversy swirling about test optional ACT or SAT, whether you should take it, whether you shouldn't take it or whatever. And again, there's a video. Christina does a really good job of being able to tell you that. Most people will tell you, if you can take a test, take it. If you can't, don't worry about it. As Julie said, they've got options to be able to take a look at. Some people have test anxiety, and they will be the best student, the top of the line student, and when they can take a test or whatever, they just truly freeze at that. So test optional is a video too. We talk about the types of federal student aid. We talked about the government earlier being the largest, provider of federal student aid, grant money that you can be able to get there. But guess what? As Julie was telling you, there's all kinds of different federal student aid. So you need to be able to take a look at what do they have here, type of options or whatever. Again, a brief video which helped you with questions before you walk into the finance office. Most students know where they want to go to school at, whether it's a community college or whether it's a 4-year college. They know exactly where they want to go to school. They're just looking for extra money. They're looking for that private money. So, and we know that if you can go out online or whatever, you could just blow your mind with all the resources that are there, and it can be intimidating. So what we've done is that we've narrowed it down to 3 websites that we think are really, really good for students to be able to use, to be able to search for private scholarships, not ones offered by colleges, but private scholarships. One of the things that you have to be able to do, and again, we had a great presentation on this the other day about scholarship displacement. A lot of times when you're looking for outside scholarships, and the school has always awarded you scholarships, they will say, well, since you got this one, then you don't need this or whatever. And they'll displace it. You were like, whoa, wait a minute. I thought I had 5 different scholarships or whatever. Well, these 2 knocked out this one or whatever and reduced the amount by this. So you need to be able to watch out for scholarship displacement. And again, when your finance officer tells you about this word or whatever, it won't be a foreign word to you and your family. We want you to be able to graduate with as little debt as possible. However, it could come a time when there's a gap between what it is that you want to do, okay, and how much aid that you're going to get. and what you need to be able to get finished, especially Julie says, if you start taking extra classes, if you start moving around and things of that nature, if you have to borrow a small amount of money or whatever, don't let that dissuade you from going to college. You're going to get a degree where you're going to have a career where you're going to be able to pay it back in a reasonable amount of time, but we want to borrow responsibly. We want to borrow reasonably, whatever. And this brief video will show you about that. And then there's a brief video that talks about the benefits of community college. Now, obviously, this video is not as extensive as what Julie and I just went through. So we, watching our video is actually going to be like even more beneficial, but just a quick 3 to 5 minute video. So if parents and students are looking at this, when you go to community college or look at community college as an option, okay, the video will be here to help you again, just answer the questions that you have in advance. All right, one of the things that Infinite Scholars does is that I said, we provide you the resources necessary for you to be successful. And providing those resources means that we work with other areas like, like Julie and her college, and we work with several other different ones, throughout the week. One of the main ones we work with is Moore College Offers. It's called that because that's what it is. It's Moore College Offers that are going to be able to give you to help you make your way through college. Okay, and again, I always want to provide you with a subject matter expert. So John Meadows is indeed the subject matter expert for Moore College Offers. He is Mr. Moore College Offers. So John, can you come and explain to our students and families about Moore College Offers?
Thank you, Dr. Dorsey. That was amazing program by Julie and yourself. I went to community college, and I have a couple of stories I can tell you. I came from a very small town in Oklahoma, and if I did not go to community college, I would not have succeeded in the 4-year. The high school I went to was not a college prep high school, okay? And there's a big difference, if a college or a high school is not geared to sending students to college, and this was 40 years ago, okay? So maybe it's different relevance now, but if I did not go to community college, I would not have succeeded and gotten out in 4 years like I did. It developed the skills I needed to succeed in a 4-year college. It's a different game, I tell you what. You go from some high schools and then you go into 4-year college, it's a different game. The intensity is much higher and the expectations are much higher. And I was able to withhold my own and graduated with honors and got out in 4 years with no debt. Okay, so it was great. I worked, I did work study, I had jobs and stuff. So I got out in 4 years with no debt, and that's a great accomplishment because my parents were teachers. Both parents were teachers, and they had 6 kids, and we didn't have the money to really support a college education, but all the kids got out. They all graduated. I have a couple of brothers who had PhDs, and so it's really been community college has really been a great opportunity for us. And another story, I have 2 nephews that just graduated recently from a much smaller school than I went to, believe it or not. And they're doctors, but one of them's just practicing. He's a practicing doctor in Tulsa, and another one's graduating next year from medical school. So, and they both went to community college. So, believe me, community college is the path for a lot of students, and particularly in small rural communities, it's a great option, and it really prepares you for reality of a 4-year college. It is different, and there's a lot of pressure, a lot of expectations that you develop those skills in a community college, and really grateful for the community college experience that I had. But anyway, I wanted to talk to you. Well, before I go beyond that, I really want to compliment Dr. Dorsey. We've been doing these programs for a week now, so I know she's ready, and she did a great job. We had some great programs, and I'll go through the programs that we have. And please, watch as many of these videos as you can, because there's different topics that will help you, particularly as juniors, to succeed in your college scholarship and funding opportunities that you might have. And again, thank you very much, Julie, for your input. And thankfully, like I mentioned, we have editing, and we'll edit this thing down, and we full program. So don't worry about the technical problems that we had. We'll make it all right. It'll be great. So thank you very much. Anyway, More College Offers is a program we developed about 4 years ago. It was really designed to help students that were not able to attend the live scholarship fairs that we have. We have 33 Infinite Scholars at 33 fairs throughout the year in different cities, about 28 cities. And a lot of students can't attend those, obviously, for various reasons. So we developed the More College Offers as a way for students to connect with our network of over 500 colleges. Actually, Dr. Dorsey mentioned we have about 100 that follow us, but we actually have a network of over 500 colleges. So it's a great opportunity for you to get your information out to those 500 colleges, and let them know who you are, what your interests are, and what your academic abilities are, that type of thing. So if you go to More College Offers, just go to the student sign up page and register. And once you register, then you will receive an email from More College Offers that will allow you to set your password. Once you set your password, it's a very secure network, so don't worry about getting your information compromised or anything. So you don't have to worry about that. So set your password, go in and fill out your student profile. There's about 21 points of information that the recruiters mentioned that we talked to a lot of recruiters when we developed this program, that they really want to know about students to kind of pre-qualify them for admission and scholarship opportunities at their school. So colleges can go in, search the data, and once they find students that they're wanting to talk to, then they can reach out through their normal communication channels and find out a little bit more information about you. So it's a great way to get your information out in a very secure network that allows colleges to find you. Okay. And there's a lot of colleges that have opportunities that you maybe have never considered. You might be some opportunities out of state, and a lot of students, some of the speakers we had this week said, look, you need to have 3 to 8 options for scholarship. So, keep your mind open, because a lot of students, they go into their college search with the intention to go to one college, and either they don't qualify or they don't get the package that really works for their family. So keep your options open and try to get multiple options to consider when you're looking at college. Okay. Because there's a lot of really good colleges, either community colleges or four-year colleges, a lot of great options out there. And it might mean moving away for a while, but that's okay. In the end game, you're going to come out a better person with better opportunities, and again, hopefully minimize your debt. You don't have to pay for college for 20 years, and that's really the key. Is don't pay for college after college if you can help it, okay? Because that's a burden that you're that can drag you down for a long time if you're not careful. So let me go ahead and go through the programming that we had this past week, which these are all videotaped, and they'll be posted on our Infinite Scholars website, as well as social media channels and virtual scholarship fairs website. The first one we had, which was really good, it was by Dr. Jay Goff. He's dean or vice provost of George Washington University over in DC. And he talked about graduating from college with minimal or reasonable debt and understanding federal financial aid. That was a very good program, and hopefully you'll be able to watch that. Tuesday, we talked about winning private scholarships, micro scholarships, and websites to search for scholarships. On Wednesday, we talked about paying for college through service and working your way through college. Thursday, test scores matter, and that was a really good one, because a lot of students, there's a lot of myths out there about, do you need to take tests? Yes, you do. You do need to take tests, especially for scholarships. Okay, so make sure you take your tests. There's a lot of information out there about resources that can help you, score better. And you can take the test more than once. So try to get as high a score as you can, and that will generate a lot of money for you if you can raise your scores. My daughter raised hers 3 points, and she went from good deal to a full ride. So make sure that you try to get the best scores you can. And then Friday, we talked about how to write a winning scholarship essay. Saturday, how to avoid scholarship scams and watch out for scholarship displacement. And of course, we saved the best for last, and that was how to save thousands for starting at and taking some classes through community college. And Julie hit it out of the park. I tell you what, we actually have footage for about 2 hours here, so it's gonna be great. But we'll edit that down, and we'll have a really good recording for you to view. And please tell others about the resources that we have available. And again, thank you for taking time on Sunday to watch our program. And again, it's all about helping students to minimize the debt or the financial costs of going to college. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Dorsey, and she can close it out from here. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, John, thank you so very, very much. One of the things that I do want to do is that I know whenever I'm presenting, I always have some last minute thoughts or things that I wanted to say that I forgot to say. And, or the questions like, oh, I meant to mention this one and emphasize this one. So Julie, I'm gonna give you the 90 seconds as they would do in the newsroom at the end of the thing or whatever. Is there anything that you want to tell our students and parents? Emphasis you want to make on something that you forgot, something that we want to include?
I think it's really important that you spend time researching exactly what you want to do and making sure that you're aware, and just awareness. I think that's really, really important. And a lot of students spend a whole lot of time on planning a vacation or something and not as much on their educational journey. So I think it's just really important that you reach out to people who can help you, who want to help you. Well, that's what we're here for, that we want to help you, and making sure that you're making a really, really educated decision on what you're about to pursue. You're the customer. You are the customer to the institution and the education that you're receiving. And so we want to make sure that it's the right path for you. So do your research. And I think Infinite Scholars has been a great way to help students get the information. I've always enjoyed working with Infinite Scholars. I think you all do so much for your students. And if they're not getting the information, they're not looking, because it's out there and you all put it right in front of them to help them get scholarships. And I think it's a great way. Just don't give up. Keep on trying. Ask the person. If you're not getting the question answered, there's somebody out there that's going to help you. And Infinite Scholars is a great way to do that. But thank you for allowing me to talk today about community college. We're here for any student. We wish every student the best of luck in whatever path and journey that they take. But much success to you all.
Julie, thank you so very much. And to you, my dear audience, thank you so very much for being here, for listening to what we have to say. So whether you were listening to this on video later on or whatever, just know that that's what we do. Infinite Scholars does one thing. We will do one thing only. We help financially deserving students be able to go to college. And we do that by partnering. We understand the power of collaboration. And the power of collaboration means that we're collaborating with the universities and colleges that are part of our network. Like I said, John says over 500 that are part of our network. 100 that travel with us when you see us out in the community and the 33 fairs across the country. We've got great people that are sitting behind the desk, whatever, making sure that things are going right, like Julie. So again, thank you all so very much. I think this week we've had a plethora of presenters that were there providing us the very best of their, giving us the best that they got, and as a subject matter expert on any particular topic. You know that if you've got any questions, you can go to our platform. You can visit any of the colleges that you're going to listen to the presenters that they are all going to make sure you've got colleges. You can say, hey, I listened to Julie, from in your area. And so when you call and look for her, you act like you're all best friends. And so she'll know you, it's like mention that you listened to this presentation, on our Visit Day Infinite Scholars platform and our virtual platform. And again, all I can say is thank you very much. It has been a pleasure to serve as your co-host this week. It's been a pleasure. And guess what? We're looking at doing this all again in the fall. So Julie, do not be surprised if I reach out back to you again and we can just do this all over again.
I would love to. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. All right. Thank you all very much. Again, we're looking forward to seeing you in the fall. If you've got any questions, okay, all you got to do is go to the website that you use to sign on to here, and you'll know how to reach out to us. Good night, everyone.